David Friedman, former U.S. ambassador to Israel. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Lital. It's a pleasure.
So you're living in Israel these days. How are you experiencing this horrific terror attack?
Look, it's very difficult to watch. It would be difficult whether I was in Israel or I was in the States to watch the torture, the barbarity, the pain inflicted upon over 1,000 people, their families, hostages taken, people missing, soldiers murdered in their beds, women raped, babies decapitated, soldiers murdered in their sleep. I mean, this is not a battle. This is not a terrorist attack. This is a Shoah. This is a day in the Holocaust. This is what a day in the Holocaust looks like. And I think the whole world is captivated by this, is feeling this pain. I think Israel should know that the whole world is in pain right now because of this incredibly barbaric and vicious attack.
Mm-hmm. And we've heard President Biden's declaration yesterday, which was very powerful. I think maybe the most pro-Israeli statement that he has done. To what extent do you think the American government is going to stand side by side with Israel in this war?
Well, look, I think America is doing a very good thing right now by moving its aircraft carrier, the largest in the world, into the Eastern Mediterranean. I think it's sending a very clear message to Iran and to Hezbollah to stay out. Whether they'll listen is another thing, but they're sending an important message. But we have to stop this appeasement of Iran. I mean, we just have to get that out of our collective American system. This war, this Shoah, was orchestrated, funded, trained, managed, and planned by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Hamas could not do this on their own. And Iran has gotten much stronger over the last 3 years. People talk about this $6 billion payment of cash to Iran. It doesn't even matter whether that money is used or not used for this attack. Iran is a different country than it was 3 years ago, selling much more oil, getting much wealthier, and they have a lot of money to spend, not just on nuclear enrichment and not just on ballistic missiles, but on empowering Hezbollah and Hamas and other terrorist groups around the world. And we have to, at some point, cut off the head of the snake. Iran is the head of the snake.
Yeah, so we know that Hamas is basically a proxy of Iran. The question is, in the recent 2 years, we've seen the Biden administration trying to reach out to Iran, trying to reach some sort of an agreement. Do you think the American administration has woken up from these fantasies of achieving some kind of an agreement with Iran?
They may have woken up, but it's a very painful way to wake up. It's a shame we had to get to the point where we're looking at the greatest slaughter of Jews in 75 years for people to wake up. One day it's not the right time now. One day people will do a post-mortem on what happened and we'll figure that out. But this was a mistake to appease Iran. And look, we're gonna, this is a never again moment. People use the phrase never again. They've been using it since the end of the Holocaust. And we're going to find out now, not just from within Israel, but from America and from Israel's other friends, whether never again is an empty phrase or whether it really has teeth. Because right now is the time for Israel to destroy Hamas the way that America and its allies destroyed the Nazis. And the question is, not is the world with Israel today, because how could you not be with a country that suffered this kind of barbaric harm? The question is going to be when Israel goes and prosecutes this war, and it's a war. And in every war, just like in World War II, every war has casualties, all right? And when there are casualties in this war, is the world going to hold Israel back and say, you've gone too far? Or are they going to recognize that this is an existential war for Israel to save itself and to save the Jewish people? And never again really means never again. And we're going to find that out over the next short period of time.
Mm-hmm. And we have to also say this is all happening in a period where Israel is trying to reach out and to reach a peace agreement with Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States. And this was probably in the sphere of trying to dismantle this agreement.
That's of course true. People are going to forget that. They're going to point to Gaza. People need to understand something else. And I've been making this point often on the American media. Gaza was once a beautiful place. Gaza has a enormous stretch of beachfront, as beautiful as the beachfront in Tel Aviv. The reason the people in Gaza are not living the way you or I would like to live is not because of Israel. It has nothing to do with Israel. Israel does not have any territorial aspirations on Gaza. If the people of Gaza are suffering, the only place to look is Hamas. Hamas is the organization that subjugates the women of Gaza, that takes the gay people and throws them off of the buildings. Hamas is the enemy, not Israel. And I think people need to understand that this war, if it leads, God willing, to the destruction of Hamas, it's also going to be a great benefit to the people of Gaza, who will finally be rid of this incredible tormenting force that they suffer with as well.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen the different declarations of world leaders supporting Israel. But again, I have to ask you whether the world finally understood that this is not an attack against Jews or an attack against Israelis. This is an attack against the free world. And what we're experiencing here is no different than any other Islamic terror organization trying to kill innocent civilians worldwide.
Look, I hope that's the case, and I don't know. We're going to see. Look at the numbers. You know, we're looking now at more than 1,000 people that have lost their lives. Hashem yakom damam. We have that. We have that here. America's 40 times bigger than Israel, right? That's the equivalent of 40,000 Americans dying in a terrorist attack. 9/11 was 10% of that. So, sure, people should understand what Israel's going through. There is an expression that is also the subject of a famous book, that the world loves dead Jews. You know, when Jews are dead, when Jews are suffering, the world is very happy. When Jews fight back, when Jews stand up and defend themselves, the world is less accepting.
Because the world is anti-Semitic at the end?
Because the world is fundamentally uncomfortable with Jewish power. And so Israel, my advice to Israel, and look, this was the administration that I grew up in when I was in office. Israel has to do what's right for Israel. Israel has to defend itself, for itself, by itself. Thank God. This came at a tremendously high price, but the country is united. I'm seeing unity among the Israeli people. I'm seeing acts of chesed, acts of kindness, acts of self-sacrifice, the like stuff I don't think we've seen since the beginning of the State of Israel. Israel will win this war because Israel is united, and Israel will do the right thing, and Israel has the power and the strength, and they can't let the world hold them back. They can't. They have to do what's right for themselves.
Strong words, former U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lital. God bless you. God bless the State of Israel and all of its soldiers.